Today, we're with Meriwether. Again, he's our regular guest, regular expert on herbs and spices and things that are good for us. And even foraging, right? Because you do a lot with the wild things that you can find and cook with. But today, I know we wanted to talk about salt. And, people think salt is the devil. It's like a bad thing. So I hope you're going to dispel that myth for us, because I've heard that it's not as bad as, everybody always tries to make it out to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And thank you for having me on again and allowing me to talk about the herbs and the chemistry and natural health and all this sort of thing. But yeah, you are absolutely right about salt. Salt, like eggs and fat and butter, has gotten a bad rap. And so the main thing they say is salt raises the blood pressure. It's a cause of high blood pressure. Not exactly. The problem is people are dehydrated. They're not getting enough water. And so salt plays a key role in the viscosity of blood, maintaining. That's just one of the things it does, sodium, to be precise. Right. So if you don't have enough water, if you're not drinking enough water, like so many people don't do, you end up with overly thick blood that becomes harder to pump. And so that's what leads to the increase in blood pressure. Not so much the salt, but that you don't have enough water to maintain the proper viscosity of the blood. So if you're drinking enough water, figure at least a gallon a day, then you're doing all right. But it's easier to tell people to stop eating salt than it is to drink more water. For some reason, people are, the people like to be told no for some reason.
I know there's so many different types of trendy salts out there, Himalayan salt and, the regular sea salt, all kinds of salts. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There's regular table salt, there's ionized salt, there's the sea salts, and there's a Himalayan salts. I really, really, really recommend the Himalayan salt. So the just regular table salt is just sodium chloride and nothing else. The iodized is sodium chloride plus some sodium iodine. Iodine is very crucial for health, especially the thyroid. So you need iodine. So if you're going to use salt, you want to make sure it has some iodine in it, because that's the number one way of getting it. But the sea salt and the Himalayan salts have a whole bunch of other minerals in them too, which the body needs. The reason I prefer Himalayan salt at the top is because one of the things it contains is a small amount of sulfur. And sulfur is another crucial element for the human body. And so the Himalayan salt is a good way of making sure you get the sulfur your body needs.
Right.
Another way, egg yolks are another good source of sulfur. But you put Himalayan salt on your eggs every morning, and then you really are doing it right.
Yeah.
The main reason the sea salt and the Himalayan salts have a whole bunch of other trace minerals that are really important. And so that's why if you're going to use salt, go with those, because you get all the other stuff too that your body needs.
I see. One thing I noticed, people tend to overdo salt, when they cook. So is there any kind of rule of thumb or whatever you can give us? Or
yeah, it kind of depends on who you want to listen to. So the FDA says you need 500 milligrams of sodium a day for proper health. And that is about, salt is sodium chloride. Right. From a weight point of view, the sodium chloride, it is 1/3 sodium and 2/3 chloride. What this boils down to is this is about 1.5 grams of salt a day is necessary for health. Your average teaspoon, a teaspoon of salt is actually 6 grams of salt. So a teaspoon of salt, theoretically, according to the FDA, is almost 3 times too much salt. But if you are drinking the amount of water you're supposed to be drinking, that's not a problem.
I see.
So go ahead, a teaspoon throughout the day, and even more. Because remember, the body needs sodium.
Right.
Sodium, it's the key way that nerve impulses are transferred throughout the body. So you need sodium for that. It's also required to contract and relax muscles. So that's one of the problems. So if you're working really hard, you're sweating a lot, you get depleted in sodium and in salt. That's why you get these muscle cramps, because the muscles basically lock up and can't relax again.
So that almost sounds counterintuitive. If you have high blood pressure, they tell you not to have sodium. Well, sodium sounds like it relaxes the muscles, so it's really not a good thing. You should just be drinking lots of water to counteract, right? And get that sodium.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. It's yep, definitely sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah. And like I said, there is a lot of salt in processed foods.
Yes.
Salt enhances the flavors of foods.
It does.
I mean, it's always been a key thing. If you look at the term celery, so not celery the fruit, but celery as the pavement, that comes from the Roman word for salt, because the Roman legionnaires were paid in salt. It was such a crucial part of nutrition and diet and food, especially when you're working hard and sweating a lot. Like I said, I'm down in Houston. It's what March? Yeah, it's a sweaty day here in Houston.
Wow.
So, it's important to have the salt replacement so you don't get the muscle cramps. You have the amount you need for the nerve transports. But along with the sodium, there's also the chloride.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, salt is sodium chloride. So the chloride, it is used to make the stomach acid, the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. It's also used to maintain the proper pH or acidic level of the blood.
Oh, okay.
So the blood needs a very, very specific, it's just a slightly on the acidic side, pH. And forgive me, I forgot to look up the actual number, but if it goes outside that range, you start having all sorts of health issues too, immediate health issues. So you need the chloride to maintain the right pH or acid level in the blood for everything to work right.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, as I said, because people are always, demonizing salt, and we really do need it. Of course, I always say consult your doctor or whatever medical practitioner with all, what we're saying, but it does sound like it all makes, absolutely.
Also, in regards to the high blood pressure, there are other things that can cause it too, like plaque buildup in the arteries and the blood vessels and so forth.
Yeah.
So just drinking water helps with the salt thickening, but if you have other health issues leading to high blood pressure, it's not going to help with those. You got to look into other ways of dealing with that.
Yes, exactly.
But that's the main issue with the salt is dehydration.
I know salt definitely bumps up the flavor for anything. If you have herbs, you need that to bump up the flavor.
It also helps remove some of the bitterness. There's an old trick with coffee. When you have really bad, cheap coffee, that's overly bitter, you put some salt in it. And that actually changes the way your mouth interacts with the bitterness. And so it basically hides the bitterness. So that's another thing where it works with the different bitter herbs and more bitter foods. The salt helps cut some of that bitterness.
Oh, wow. So that's why it, definitely enhances the flavor in more ways than one as well. So, but it's better to use, if you're going to use salt, best to use Himalayan salt and sea salt.
Correct. Again, to get all the other trace minerals that you need, including the iodides. Iodine. And you definitely need iodine. Yes. If anything, you want to mix the iodized salt with the Himalayan salt or the sea salt. Just the sea salt usually has iodine. The Himalayan has slightly less. So you want to add some of the iodized salt to the Himalayan just to make sure you're getting enough iodine. Or
the iodized salt is the table salt. Is that what you're talking? Oh, okay. So like you're
Morton's
saying, so add that to the Himalayan salt so you get all the minerals that you do need. And seaweed, which you were saying is interesting, right?
Yep. Seaweed and basically seafood in general and shrimp and things like that are good sources of iodine.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's why the sea salt also has a naturally high amount of iodine.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I know I've gotten into this seaweed salad that I get at this little shop near me now. So I've been trying to eat a little bit more. I think it's an acquired taste, but I try to have that, because I know it's got some really good things in it for you too. So
seaweed is very healthy for you. And fermented or pickled seaweed, really.
So, okay. So I guess we need to cook with salt or use salt and it does bump up the flavor of any dishes. Like you said, takes away the bitterness. So obviously, if you need to have precautions, take precautions, but salt is not, salt does have some good properties for you. It does have some good things there.
Well, it's crucial for us.
Right, exactly.
We need it. The earliest life forms started out in the saltwater oceans, and that requirement for the chemistry of the bodies has stuck with us this whole time.
So it's definitely one of the crucial elements that we need. That's great. That's good. All right. Anything else you'd like to add for this?
Oh no, on salt, it's just the Himalayan, like I said, that has
Right.
the sulfur in it that the other salts don't. Just the sulfur is used by the liver to break down and get rid of toxins.
Oh, wow.
So the Himalayan salt, the extra sulfur there, helps you really detoxify the body amongst just adding flavor and all the other things. So that's why the Himalayan salt is the most important.
That's definitely good. So it also it detoxifies the liver as well as providing the other stuff. Well, some more great information. And Meriwether, tell us I know you have a website and a whole lot of different really good for you products. So
Medicine Man Plant Co. I am an herbalist along with a PhD chemist. I have a master's in medicinal chemistry, a PhD in physical organic chemistry, but I've devoted my life to the benefits of the natural products in plants and mushrooms. And since we were talking about the blood pressure, one of the things I do have, I guess the green screen problem, but the blood pressure pill, which is hawthorn berries, which reduce the heart's response to adrenaline. It has ginger, which helps convert the bad low-density lipids that cause plaque into the good beneficial high-density lipids, the HDLs. And then it has Rosella hibiscus, which increases the natural amount of nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide causes the blood vessels to relax and expand, requiring less pressure to pump the blood through it. So, of course, FDA says these have not been confirmed by the FDA. They have been confirmed by scientists, and they have been confirmed by 83,000 generations of testing. But you always have to put the disclaimer in there. But medicinemanplantco.com. Check us out. Check me out. It's not us, it's me.
Yes, definitely. You have some great products on the site. I saw them, and definitely worth a try. Better to go natural, I always say. Yes, definitely. Well, great. And hopefully you'll be back next month with some interesting information on another herb, spice, or mineral that we need.
There's so many to talk about.
Yes, I know. Great. All right. Yes. Thanks so much for being here again, and look forward to seeing you next month. And I know you'll bring something interesting with you next month.
Cool. Thank you.
Great. All right, Meriwether. Thank you. Have a good one.